So for step 15, the propeller shafts, we have to pull together all of these pieces, and then we have these cross joints that have to go into these shafts. Now, I have to tell you, I'm a little shocked because all of these pieces are coming off a plastic parts tree. You heard it right, folks, a plastic parts tree. So this piece here, they're showing that in order to get these cross joints in, they want you to use tweezers to pull up on the plastic and pop them in. So I've got to do that. I'm just a little shocked that for such an important part of the car, it's made of plastic. I don't know. Okay, we'll see. I'll set this up and we'll start building one, but I'm a little concerned just with it being plastic. How easy is it to, if you're using the pliers, is that plastic super pliable, or could you, if you put a little bit too much effort into it, could it snap? I don't know. Yeah, just a little shocked with this step, but let's get on to it. So I went ahead and put one together because I needed to see how this was going to work off camera before I showed you how to do this. Now I think I've come up with a method that will work, but I do find this step slightly sketchy, and my concern will be for all of you out there, bending that plastic back and you do it a bit too hard and something snaps. Maybe I'm wrong, but it just is a weird thing. Now this went okay, not overly smooth, but parts of it did. But anyways, I'll show you how to put it together the way I think is probably best, and we'll do the rest. So let's start out with A. So there is our, I guess you could say it's a ribbed shaft. And then we're going to grab one of these. Now this one, I put the silver piece into the rib side, so I think I'll do the same thing with this. You can see that we've got to get them on either side, and you can sort of see in there is an indentation, a slight one, for how to get these in. But what I found is if I put one in, okay, so basically put it into the bottom hole and then push, you'll notice the top is actually having to hold it a little bit. And then using the pliers, I'm going to lift and push at the same time. So I've got my thumb on the cross joint so that when I push this up or pull with the pliers, I can push at the same time, and then it's looking like that. So obviously we need to push this in to get that to slide into the hole. So there we go. So one is in, and the plastic did, bend back fairly easy. So this one wasn't too bad. The next bit was, I found, just a little bit tougher. But I think that's your best bet, is grabbing it that way using your thumb, because no matter whether you're left or right, you can only really use one hand to do the push because you've got one hand trying to pull up on the pliers. So that's that part done. Now, if we grab the next bit, you can see that we've got to fit this onto here. And it's sort of the same idea. If we put one in, and push, now it's riding up on the ball. And same thing, grab our pliers, and I've got to be able to push this with my thumb to get it to go under that piece of plastic. But this one I found a little tougher because you don't have the leverage on this anymore. This I had something to hold. This, it's kind of in the way, and all I've got is the little ball to push. But the other thing is, what you can do is put your finger under this piece right here, put your finger there and then push this part while you're pushing with your thumb on the cross joint. So basically push up with your index finger and push forward with your thumb. And we're into that same situation, so that when we can just continue to push in. And hope that will slide across. Like I said, this one seems a little tough. Ah, there we go. So now it's popped in. So there we go. There is another one finished. It's just a little bit more finicky, and it requires you to kind of use your fingers in set ways to make it work. Because I do find that when we're trying to hold that, because you got the pliers and you're kind of pushing, when you start to pull up on them, it's wanting to push this down. So if you're using your index finger to push up, you're giving the plier the leverage when you're pulling back, because you've got your index finger pushing up, and then you've got your thumb pushing that cross joint under the lip once you can get the pliers out of the way. So there we go. There's two of them. So now we'll do these other ones, which will be more or less the same. So for the remaining two, I went ahead and did one of them again just to see how it was going to come together, and it pretty much is the same way. So we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to pop that into the bottom hole, push forward, then we're going to grab our pliers, hold it, and use the index finger to push up while I'm using my thumb to push in. You can see how that bends it out. We're going to now push to pop it in. There we go. And there we have one of them in again. So same thing with this. This piece has got to attach to the bottom. I'm now going to push it forward so you can see that it kind of sits on the ball, slightly bent up. And I'm going to do the same thing again, where I'm going to grab this. Whoops. And you can see it's already popped off, but that's okay. We're going to put that back in the hole, push it forward, grab the pliers. Now we're going to push up with the index finger again while I push that one forward. And that one seems to be a little tougher. Okay, push up. There we go. And again, push forward. This one seems a little tougher for some reason. There. And it's in. I do find it weird to bend the plastic back so much. I'm sure that, they've designed this properly, but I still think it's a bit of a weird scenario. But anyways, all four of these are done. And I mean, you can see here, and it'll be the same on this side. See how it's ribbed one on the other? So one is going to, when we've actually put this whole thing together, they're going to fit inside of each other. And that will end up being your drive shaft down to the axles. But I still think it's weird that it's all plastic. But hey, that's me. Anyways, that means step 15 is complete. So we can now move on to step 16 and attach the propeller shafts A.